Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about all of the matchups that we all should be keeping an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers preseason Week 2 matchup versus the Tennessee Titans. If you guys are new here, well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave me your thoughts about which matchups you are going to be keeping an eye on down in the comments section below. But before we do get started talking about these matchups, I want to say that my heart goes out to fellow NFL YouTuber Jets Central, Ian, because he just made a video talking about how Carl Lawson, the premier pass rusher for the New York Jets, suffered an Achilles injury. He's out for the entirety of this upcoming season, and my heart goes out to him as well as any other Jets fans out there, because it sucks when situations like that do happen. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about some of these matchups. And the first one that I have myself personally keeping an eye on is going to be the Buccaneers backup offensive line versus the Tennessee Titans backup D-line slash pass rush, because the Tennessee Titans, they do have a 3-4 defense. They've got outside linebackers rushing in. They've got interior defensive linemen rushing in as well. It's a lot to keep track of, so I just included both of them in this matchup here. And I don't think I'm the only one who thought this, right? I think coming away from the Cincinnati Bengals preseason game, I was a little concerned with how the backup offensive line played, and I don't think I'm alone in that assessment. There was a lot more questions than answers coming away from that game. And I will go ahead and be fair here. There have been some injuries. You know, Stanley has been out. He was waived with an injury designation. Robert Hainsey has been hurt as well. He didn't get to play in preseason week 1. It seems like he might not be able to play in preseason week 2 as well. And then you also have guys who have had other nagging injuries. Now, after the Buccaneers did bring in Earl Watford right before the preseason game, so I think now with about a week and a half's worth of time to get more prepared and more ready, I think he will be a boost to the backup O-line. They've also added a couple of more young developmental offensive linemen, but I'm still going to be paying very close attention here, because this is going to be a big game for a lot of those backup O-linemen. I think that obviously Robert Hainsey is going to be the backup center. We all know this. You imagine Aaron Stinney is going to be the backup right guard, and then probably Josh Wells is going to keep his spot as the backup left tackle. But man, we've got to see more from those guys competing for that backup right tackle spot if they do decide to keep one, and the backup left guard spot as well, because preseason week 1 left a lot to be desired from this unit, and we'll see what happens. Honestly, at this point, I think that Earl Watford might be, in a more favorable spot to have a roster position here on the 53-man roster, just because we haven't seen enough from the other guys in game time action versus other teams' players. It's really interesting to see, because, all throughout training camp before preseason week 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers backup O-line, I thought, was doing a very good job against some of the Buccaneers backups and starting pass rushers, both on the D-line and as outside linebackers. But the moment they started going up against other teams, backup pass rushers, D-line, whatever you want to say, things just didn't go well. I believe the final total was 13 quarterback hits in preseason week 1, so that's got to change. That has got to improve, and that's going to be a lot of different things. Communication, just overall better play. We'll see what happens, but this is a big, big game, I think, for a lot of those backup O-linemen, and we will see how they perform against what is admittedly a very well-depth, well-stocked Tennessee Titans D-line and pass rush. So we will see if they're up to the task here going into this game. The next matchup that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is the reverse of the last matchup. It's going to be the Buccaneers pass rush versus the backups Tennessee Titans offensive line. So again, I think that with the Buccaneers backup pass rushers, Joe Tryon looked great. He was robbed of a sack, which was very unfortunate. I thought guys like Elijah Ponder looked good as well. I want to see more from some guys like Anthony Nelson, Khalil Davis, who did have a play or two in preseason week 1, Jeremiah Ledbetter. Some of these guys who have had really good camps show up in game time. Let's see what you can do against a backup Titans O-line now, because you know, I think that there were no sacks in preseason week 1. There were very few quarterback hits, if any, again in preseason week 1 from this backup pass rush unit. So let's see things generate more. Let's see more pressure. Let's see more quarterback hits. Let's see more sacks. Let's just see these guys put some good stuff on film, besides from what we've seen in special teams play. The third matchup that I think that we all should be keeping an eye on is going to be Kyle Trask versus the Tennessee Titans backup defense just in its entirety. Now, I've talked about this in, you know, the review of preseason week 1 and all throughout this past week's worth of videos. I thought Kyle Trask looked pretty good in preseason week 1. The numbers won't reflect that. His overall passer rating, completion to attempt ratio, all those other things was not great on paper. But I think that Kyle Trask showed good poise in the pocket. He showed great pocket awareness. He had a very good feel for where guys were coming from in terms of pass rush. And I feel like he took very calculated risks, plural. He wasn't, you know, going out there and just saying, I'm going to throw up a 50-50 ball and whoever comes down with it, and that is what it is. No, I really do think that Kyle Trask was putting guys in positions where it's either my guy is going to get it or nobody is going to get it, and that's all good. And I really do appreciate that level of play in a quarterback, especially a guy so early on in his career, in his first career game. So I'm hoping for more continuity here with Kyle Trask. More continuity, I guess, in the good things that I saw, and I want to see some improvement on some other things as well. I think that he did have a couple of passes that might have been a little bit too high for some of his wide receivers or running backs, and those are the kind of things that I want to see improve, because if he is able to put that all together, I really think Kyle Trask could put together a really good game here in preseason week 2. The second to last matchup I have us all basically should be keeping an eye on is going to be Jalen Darden versus the backup Titans secondary. And Jalen Darden is one of those guys who was on the cusp of having a really good preseason week 1. There was, I remember specifically, one deep pass from Ryan Griffin that just got out of reach of Jalen Darden, and one deep pass from Kyle Trask that just got out of reach of Jalen Darden. He had a healthy amount of targets. I believe he had 8 on the day, but only 2 receptions for 19 yards, I believe. That's got to improve. I think it will. Jalen Darden is still really, really darn good, and I want to see more opportunities for him to actually have a chance to catch the football, because I want to see how well his hands are doing in game time action. In practice, he has struggled with drops, so I think he would really benefit with getting those reps of, hey, there's a defender coming, he is going to hit you, you've got to catch this football. I think that that is going to be very beneficial for his development, to get those jitters out of the way and really just, you know, take some of those hits, deal with it, get up, dust yourself off, and then move on. I really do think that would be extremely beneficial overall for his game. But finally, guys, the last matchup that I have that we should all be keeping an eye on is going to be the backup Buccaneers running backs versus the backup Titans run defense. Overall, I still think the Titans have a very solid just defense in general. I think their defense is their main calling card, I think, to a certain degree, their front seven specifically. They've done a really good job of building depth in regards to that, and I want to see more from these backup running backs. I don't think we're going to be seeing a ton, if, you know, much at all, of Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and Giovani Bernard. But to be honest, I want to see more Keshawn Vaughn. I want to see what he can be able to do. I think that he really ran hard in preseason week 1. Despite what was a not great effort from the backup offensive line in terms of run blocking. So I want to see him get that chance to make more plays and show what he can do with the football in his hands, besides just getting, you know, tackled and smashed into a pile at the line of scrimmage or only gaining 1 or 2 yards. And to be honest, I want to see more of CJ Prosise as well. I think that he definitely still has a lot to offer as a receiving back. He only had 1 10-yard reception in preseason week 1, but I think he has potential for more. He's been in the league for a handful of years. I think he's a very solid veteran, and I think he could contribute in a big way for whoever's at quarterback in preseason week 2, the backup quarterbacks, Ryan Griffin, Kyle Trask, maybe even a little bit of Blaine Gabbert. I think the CJ Prosise could be a big weapon there. And then Troymaine Pope, I don't know what's going on with him right now. He has been out for a handful of practices, so we will have to wait and see what the updates are on that. But I still think he is a good, you know, stocky, powerful running back who's got a lot of just ability, right? To just run straight into some people, barrel over some people, and just keep on running with it. I've said this before, he reminds me a lot of Doug Martin. I still hold true to that. I want to see what he can do as well with some carries. Preseason week 1 didn't afford too many opportunities for those backup running backs to really get going, and I want to see that changed going into this upcoming game. But guys, that's it for all these matchups. What did you think about all the matchups that I mentioned? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!